Hi everyone, it's Sarah
and Amy
from the Stoughton Public Library Craft Club, and this month we are doing alcohol inks. This was another craft that Amy and I had never tried before, but we love color, and so we jumped right in. So let's see how we do it. All right, thanks for joining us while we talk about how to do alcohol inks. So what you'll get in your kit is a little bottle with rubbing alcohol. You'll get probably 2 colors of ink. You'll get a little pipette for either transferring your rubbing alcohol or moving things around, and a popsicle stick along with some sheets of paper. So when Amy and I practiced, we started with quarter sheets of paper, and so that's what I would recommend that you start with. Cut one of your sheets into 4 so you can play with some of these techniques that we'll show you how to do. When you get to your next piece, after you've done your practice, you can move on to a larger sheet, like a half sheet or a full sheet, just knowing that in your kit you'll have a couple of card blanks. They're slightly bigger than a quarter sheet, so you'll want to start with something bigger and then cut it down to a 4x6 size, and then it'll slide in. What did we learn when we played? Since we'd read some books, and at the end of the video or in the email, we'll send you a link to the alcohol ink books that you could order from the library. We learned that when you just drop your ink down, it dries really quickly because it's alcohol and the alcohol evaporates and all you're left with is the pigment. But you can typically activate it again by adding the alcohol. I like the look of it running a little bit more to start so I could get a wash. So I'm gonna drop some alcohol on here to start.
And yes, it's kind of hard to see the alcohol,
yeah,
but it's there.
Trust us, promise. With a lot of color-based crafts, you'll want to start with your lightest color and move to your darkest color. So I've got this is lemon yellow. Seems pretty lemony. And if you want, the biggest thing that we learned was that you're layering and you just have to keep putting more on. You do some, you let it dry. I'm just doing this to kind of get a color wash. Or if your paper gets too wet, like this one had a lot of color on it, and so to spread it out, I used the stick to whip it around. So it dried faster and it made a cool effect.
And then for some, you might want the running effect, like gravity will take its course. And so I was kind of making my blues run there. This isn't craft where you will just take creative license to play.
Oh, that is bright.
It's fuchsia.
It is fuchsia. And when you put one color on top of another color, it'll just keep extending itself out, which is another fun thing. So you can keep doing that.
Sarah made the comment that it's similar to the marble dyeing, if anybody participated in that craft, where the colors kind of push each other around.
You will want to keep the lids on your alcohol inks because they do, they're alcohol. So if you leave them open for a long time, they will dry out. So here I'm alternating yellow and pink, and they're pushing each other out all the time. and blending and making a new color. Another technique, if you have some salt, just like with watercolor, the salt does something with the alcohol and it pushes the ink away. This one's getting a little dry, so I'm adding more alcohol to it.
We really like the effect of the salt.
Yeah, so you can see these ones and this one, it's wherever you see that mottled look, that's from salt. So another thing is if you have a lot of ink, you can use gravity to make kind of drips or run your color along the side, like you can see in this one that Amy did. Really pretty. It looks like seaweed or algae or something.
Depending on which direction you hold it, right?
Yeah.
Or you could even accentuate, easy for me to say, the running effect, I guess, the streaking effect, and use a hair dryer. We did that with some of ours when we played around. Can blow the colors around.
And then you end up, you know, with something that's just got a lot of layers. And then this one is just 2 colors and there's so much variation. So I hope that you guys will find that when you make yours.
And one thing we discovered, if you want your colors to come through stronger or more intense, you can let it dry and then start adding layers again after it dries, so they aren't quite so diluted.
Okay, so here is the one I was just working on. A couple minutes went past and we're already dry. When it's dry, you can just brush your salt off. And then it's ready to go. So I'll set that aside for a bit and we'll start another one and show you a couple more techniques. This one, I did not put alcohol down first. We did notice that when we first added the ink to the paper, it would curl somewhat, but once you have it fully covered, that seems to go away. So don't worry, and they will flatten out. Kind of like when they do the little
the sprays. That's cool.
I'm gonna do kind of a big one over here. And then if you have the materials, we have rubbing alcohol in this giant spray bottle. And let's see what we happen. We haven't tried this yet,
have not
so
tried
it's very
this.
exciting.
Ooh. See,
Oh, reminder, please do cover your work area, either with a paper towel or a plastic tablecloth, something that you can clean or toss. I wouldn't use newspaper unless it's blank newsprint, because the rubbing alcohol will, I think, dissolve the ink on newspaper and you'll end up with that on your paper. But maybe you want that to happen and maybe that's cool. So report back. That's kind of fun.
Now we're going to put a little salt in it too. Salt in the wound. That's something else. That's something else. Alright.
You have all these beautiful things. What do you do with them? So you'll have a few of your cards, so you can pick out your best ones and slide them inside, just like this. I think a 4x6 will fit the best and slide in. And then you've got a nice blank card that you can gift to someone. You can also we use the die cutter machine that we have at the library to cut out these shapes. But then you could make a magnet. You could cut it to fit in one of those, onto a brooch. You could decoupage it. You could put it in one of those pendant blanks and then put some epoxy on top and have a beautiful piece of jewelry.
Put your shapes onto the front of a card, like if you have a blank cardstock.
Yeah.
We looked at one little Pinteresty thing that cut out the shapes and then adhered them to cardstock.
With a little bit of a lift, so it was textured, and they had several cut shapes together in a grid. It was really pretty. And it also is just such a, it's like using a viewfinder to find your best little pieces of it. And so we liked the effect of cutting into your big sheet. Go look where you put your stuff that you don't need but you have, or you might need it one day. Junk drawer, basement, check it out. You might have a light switch cover or a tile, and that would be a perfect thing to use.
Something non-porous, right?
Yeah, alcohol inks work best on a non-porous surface. Our paper is glossy, but it is a little porous. There is a specialty paper that you can use, but it's pretty pricey, so we didn't have it for this craft. But if you love this craft, I'd check it out, and I can't remember the name of it right now. So it'll be in the email. We'll have lots of links and stuff.
I think the photo paper would work also.
Yes, you can use the back of photo paper, so if you have some lying around, that's another cool way. Oh, this is fun.
That is fun.
So this is what would happen if our paper wasn't so porous.
You might have seen coasters made out of tiles that people use alcohol inks on to do a color wash.
This is fun. So go look in your basement. See what kind of things need to be colored.
Thank you for joining us for Alcohol Inks with Stoughton Public Library Craft Club. We had a great time filming in the Carnegie Room, where we're also storing furniture in preparation for partial reopening sometime in the unnamed future. We hope that you will join us on April 1st. No fooling.
No fooling.
And that we will see you there, 6:30. Please join our Zoom. If you have any questions, send me, Sarah B, an email, and we'll help you out the best we can. And please do email us pictures of your projects so we can share them on social media.
Yep, whether you can make it to our April 1st Zoom or not, if you could email us pictures, we love to share and do show and tell. That's what's fun about our gathering.
Yeah. So happy crafting. We'll see you next month.